So let's have a conversation about adopted children who want to meet their biological parents. Hi, my name is Dr. Natalie Jones. I'm a licensed therapist. Commenter here says, what's your take on people who get mad at adopted children wanting to meet their biological parents who never wanted to meet them? For the record, I don't judge the kid for it at all. You know, this is a, this is a controversial topic. It was a trending hot topic on TikTok, maybe a couple of months ago. And I've honestly seen it from both sides of the coin. So I have, sympathy, empathy for all parties involved. I can understand when mothers give their child up for adoption, closed adoption, and they wish to never be contacted again. And I think, when mothers just decide not to have a child, I think that's the best case scenario. For what it's worth, I've seen other scenarios where it's not just a mother who says, hey, I can't raise my child, I got a lot going on. I've seen it to whereas mothers have been sexually assaulted and had to give up that child. I've seen it to where mothers have lost their parental rights due to being abusive, being abused, being negligent, other sorts of things. So I've seen it play out that way. I've also seen it where mothers are under conservatorship, and so they have their right taken away, their rights taken away, their right to consent and be able to do those types of things. There's usually a lot of things going on within that with that person, when they're going through a circumstance like that. With that being said, I've also worked with troubled children. I've worked with children who have been put into the system and children who have been, kicked out of their adoptive parents' homes. There's children who want to know where they belong. There's children who want answers. There's, I've had relatives that were adopted as well. So there's people that feel like, there's a part of them that's missing and they're seeking that, or maybe there's a family out there that's better than what I've got. There's all different sorts of reasons why people seek answers. And I don't think there's a right or a wrong answer. I can understand why people do it on all parties, on all sides. Other times, children are curious. They want to know where they came from. Children may want to know medical information. They may need medical information or medical interventions and things like that. So there, again, any number of reasons why parents may give their child up for adoption and why children may seek their parent after, their biological parent after they've been adopted. I think everyone's reasoning is a little bit different. Everyone's life experiences are a little bit different. What I will say is that while you may feel a certain way, a feeling does not necessarily give you the power to act in all cases, and it also doesn't determine necessarily the outcome. So what I would say is that, before children do this, they need to be prepared for any outcome that they may have, even the ones that aren't pleasant. And so it's always good to work with a licensed mental health professional to explore the reasons, what they're looking for, why they're doing this, and are their feelings and thoughts around doing this, are they based in reality, or is it more like a fantasy, a whimsical, like we're going to run off into the sunset after I meet this wonderful mother, and are they okay with whatever outcome? Suppose the mother doesn't want to meet them. Suppose the mother's not open to that. Suppose the mother's pissed off. Suppose the mother's not in a good space. Suppose the mother, very similar to what happened on Jersey Shore. Suppose your biological parent says, yes, I want a relationship, and really they want money, or really they want to exploit you for a sexual relationship, because that's also something that has happened too, quite a bit, I might add. So I think everybody involved needs to be aware. They need to be, need to have their emotions taken care of, because if not, it could open up a whole new, just a whole different side of things. It could open you up to be preyed upon, and things like that. It can open you up to be abused and mistreated by someone that you've been longing to meet, and someone that you've been hoping that would meet a fantasy. So I think, you know, respect to everybody who's in this situation, but I think you definitely want to do your due diligence in processing it, making sure that you are self aware and that you are not tied to an outcome, meaning that an outcome isn't going to make or break you, and that you are logical and thoughtful, respectful, and sensitive, not just to yourself, but to everyone that's involved. So I hope that helps. But I don't, I'm not in that situation. That's not me. But I've worked with a fair number of people who have been in a number of situations where they've had siblings that they've discovered, or siblings that have found them. And I've had people, I've seen people who've had good, great outcomes, and people that it would have been better left alone. So I don't really necessarily have a an answer. I just say, you want to be as prepared as you can for any outcome and detached from the outcome, and just be open, but also be mindful of everybody else involved as well. So thanks for asking that. I hope that helps.